Hi everybody, my name is Angel Cifuentes and today I would like to share with you some ideas, some thoughts about the future of education. After more than a year of pandemic and a lot of changes in the field of education and teaching, it's important to think about what comes next. I selected the extract of this book because I think that even though this book is from a lot of years, a different era in humanity. I think the author tries to communicate that even though it's a time with a lot of conflicts and a lot of difficult situations, it is also an opportunity to improve, an opportunity to change. We must not forget what is the objective of education, which is actually to make our students to think, to be critical thinkers, and to develop all the possible skills to improve their lives. Whenever we come to talk about education and teaching, I mean, before the pandemic, we were still with this type of education, this type of model, right, that started in the Industrial Revolution. I mean, classes with teachers and desks and students and whiteboards and teachers providing contents and students learning those contents. Now we know with after all of the work of different pedagogues that there are different ways of learning. Not everybody learns in the same way. There are different strengths and different preferences for learning, and we really need to know that in order to apply and have meaningful teaching and our students have meaningful learning also. Things that became evident during the pandemic, things like even though we had lots of years of experience teaching, we were not quite prepared for this. We were not quite prepared for what it came with the situation of the pandemic. The great paradox after all of this is that what is success at the end? I mean, we want our students to become better and to graduate and have the greater honors and all of that. But at the end, what are we trying to develop in them? If we could ask a teenager from this age what he thinks is success in life, we might get surprised with those type of answers. Lessons learned during this situation of the pandemic and in the teaching of that, we have to adapt in the first place. We had to cope with that and adapt very quickly. And at the same time that we had to adapt, we had to reflect if the things that we were doing were okay. Making this shift to the online virtual teaching was also difficult because we had to learn a lot of things along the way. Definitely the role of the teacher was different, okay? He is a moderator, a facilitator, and provides support to their students. Some of the techniques and approaches used, we can mention a lot, but at the end, I think everything is based on the interaction that students get with the materials and how engaging those materials, and if we provide enough moments of communication for them to express themselves. One of the approaches used widely was problem-based learning, okay, which is giving complex real-life problems to students and they solve it, okay, in a collaborative way. Project-based learning was also another important approach that was used. Nevertheless, um, it needed a lot of tools and a lot of attitudes from students like self-management and organization and discipline to achieve. So project-based learning also helped to build up soft skills so needed for hard skills. The flipped classroom was another way that breaks the common way of teaching, right? The students get in touch and interact with the materials, with the content before going to class, actually. And in class, well, they do a lot of exercises and they solve doubts. And when they come back to their houses, they evaluate and self-evaluate about their knowledge acquired. Connectivism is important also to know because during this situation of the pandemic, the access to the information was not the problem with our students. The problem is actually what do they do and how do they react with those contents. Mainly, everything is based on interaction and communication. Those two aspects became very, very vital for online classes during the pandemic. Thinking about which could be some final thoughts to provide to you today, I would like you to address about what things we can expect in the future, what things we can expect from the community, and what things definitely change for the future. Um, the first thing to think about, is what is essential to be taught actually. Do we need to follow the same old curriculum that we had before the pandemic, or there is a different syllabus that we need to cover? What about the evaluation? Evaluation should not be the same now. What are those skills and values and virtues that we want to build up in our students now? About the community, definitely we had to go back home and everybody from their own home and devices were connected to the lesson. So everybody, even though got separated and isolated, they were also connected to find solutions and to share ideas through meaningful conversations. Things that will change definitely from now on is that now more than ever we can talk about a personalized learning with our students, that we need to teach them real world skills. um, the evaluation has to change, and the data that we obtain from all the resources from all our students should be something to improve the way we teach. Even though we don't have quite a clear view of the future, we need to think about that mankind along history have overcome many of the obstacles in life. And we are not going to be the difference. We are going to overcome any kind of difficult in teaching. Thank you very much.